Hello everybody, we're going live for Tuesday Talks, so welcome to another episode of Tuesday Talks. Today we have an amazing person all the way from Singapore called Alyssa Lie. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correct. If not, apologies. So Alyssa is all the way from Singapore. She is a singer-songwriter, model, and also advocating self-love and self-care as well. So we will connect with Alyssa now and hear all about her journey. And hello, Alyssa, how are you doing?
Hello, hi Zishan, I'm really good. I know it's super early where you are.
Yes, and thank you very much for your time as well, for coming on to Tuesday Talks. I know on your side it's pretty much evening, right?
Yes, it's 5 p.m. over here. And I'm like halfway across the world.
Yeah, all the way from Singapore, right?
Yes, from Singapore.
I love technology. It gets you to connect with everybody all around the world. And the only barrier you have is time, and we have overcome that as well. No, so thank you very much for coming on to Tuesday Talks. I've done a short introduction for you already. I'm not too sure if you got to hear that. But you're the best person to expand on to, what you do, who you are. So let us know who you are, what you do. And the biggest question would be, why do you do it? Why do you do it?
Sure. Okay, I think I'll start by just saying hi to everyone who said hello. So Mysterio says hello. SM Photo and James. Hi, thank you so much for joining. My name is Alyssa Lie. You pronounced that right. I am from Singapore. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a model, host. I also do voiceovers and content creation. So a lot of people know me on TikTok. A lot of people know me on Instagram. I do a lot of different accents. It's just for fun, really. And why do I do what I do? I always believe that in life, you just have to follow your passion and follow the thing that you love. And I graduated with a degree in musical theater, and it's not common in Singapore to pursue musical theater because we don't have Broadway, we don't have the West End, right? So a lot of what we learned in school was kind of preparing us to move overseas to continue the career in theater there. But then when I got out of school and I started actually performing in musicals, I realized I didn't really enjoy it all that much. At least not as much as I thought I would have. And then I ventured into music, ventured into acting, ventured into modeling, hosting, and during COVID was when I first started content creation on social media. So I kind of just follow, I would say, where my heart takes me. Sometimes you set these goals and you think that once you get there, you're going to be happy. And I realized that when I achieved those things that I thought would make me happy, they didn't. And so I just kept searching for the happiness, like, where is the happiness? Okay, let's go there. Oh, wait, I'm not happy. Okay, where's the happiness? It's there. Okay, let's go there. Yeah. And I think right now I'm in a place that I'm really happy.
Awesome. Okay, that's quite interesting journey, right? In terms of what you think that you will be happy with. And obviously, what you've learned to do in your school, college, and degrees wise, and then you think, all right, we'll pursue this and see how it is. But then once you're in it, you're like, no, my heart's not in this.
Yeah.
And so it's a case of finding what's your passion or what's your calling. I would say, would you think that's correct? So I would say you're still in that discovery moment, right? Until you find something that you enjoy at the same time you're successful at. I go that they go hand in hand anyway. If you're enjoying something, you're automatically successful at it because you're going to give enough time to it because it's not going to feel like work, right?
Mm-hmm. It's so true. I think my whole life has been a process of self-discovery. But this year, 2022, I think I finally settled on the things that I really love. And those are the things that I definitely want to focus on. And that would be music. So singing, writing my own songs, and content creation. So TikTok and Instagram. And it's so interesting to me because when I was a kid, I remember when I was 3 or 5 and I was watching TV and everything, I used to watch a lot of Disney Channel. And actually, Disney Channel inspired me to pursue my dreams. So I know sometimes people like they hate on Disney because they go like, "Oh, you're just painting this idyllic picture." You know, who says that nothing is impossible and stuff like that. But I think that all the messages that they send, especially like when you're a teenager and when you're young, you know, and sometimes life doesn't go your way, but by watching these shows, like I remember watching Hannah Montana and being like, oh my gosh, if Miley can do it, I can do it too. But, you know, I guess while you're growing up, you have to still battle a lot of challenges, whether it's mental, whether it's the environment that you're in. You know, I'm not American, so of course the culture and the context is completely different. So those were things that I think I had to work through on that process of being like, I know what I want to be. Like, I definitely want to be a pop singer. I definitely want to write songs. But how I get there is not going to be the same path as somebody else. Like, I can't just audition for the Disney Channel at 6 because there's no Disney Channel here. Yeah, so it's kind of like keeping that as an inner voice or a compass and constantly following that. And sometimes you go left, you go right, you go wherever, but like all roads lead to Rome. And at the end of the day, if you know where your heart is, you'll always go back to it.
I love this, and thank you for expanding and sharing this with us as well. In terms of, I heard you say, keep your heart as a compass and then follow
Yes.
that direction. It's so profound that nobody actually does that, and as you mentioned, you will have those personal challenges because everybody will have their circumstances, their situations, their lifestyle, and their upbringing wherever they are. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Disney shows you certain things that yes, it's possible. You can do anything. You can do everything, which I believe as is true. Anybody, anywhere,
Yeah.
any part of the world is able to do anything what they want. But yeah, they do have to overcome the situations or the obstacles which are in their way, and how you overcome it. That also is then unique to that person itself, how they do it, right? There's so much content out there which helps you out there, overcome certain battles and whatever obstacles you have. But again, you will have to do it in your way because there's just a way shown to you. There's many roads or many streets that still lead to one same destination. You just need to know
Mm-hmm.
which one is fit for you and you take that. Is that correct, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one most important thing I would say everybody should have is perseverance and persistence. Because I think too many people give up too early. Like when I look at my journey, and in all honesty, even though I knew I wanted to be a performer, I never actually got the chance to perform until I went to university. So that was like college, that was like 18. And to most people, that's already considered late. You know, like how can you only start performing at 18 and say this is your dream? But I think people didn't realize the struggles that I went through to even be able to get to that school and pursue that. So I think if I could do it, right, if I can spend 18 years being like not encouraged, not given the right opportunities, and still know that this is my calling, then I just like for me the reason why I do what I do as well and share it on platforms like this is because I just want to tell people like, I mean, look at me, I did not come from like, oh, my parents put me in a drama school since I was a kid or anything like that. But I just always knew that this is what I wanted to do. So persistence and perseverance is the most important thing. Somebody can come into school or even be in a production and be like miles ahead of you in terms of years, but they might also just quit next year, you know? Yeah, so who stays the longest is also important.
I love that. And so with your personal journey and perseverance there, I'm sure like all of us, you came through a million of obstacles and challenges. So we know that you obviously you're driven and you're still in you're still in discovery mode, and what I can also hear from your voice is you've got the passion for whatever you start doing. You
Hmm.
put yourself into it 120%, for example, right? So when there are moments when as you just mentioned, some people quit early. Perseverance is great, obviously, to have to continue. But what does that look like in your world? What was that? So how did you continue doing what you're doing now?
In my world, as in the industry, or my
For
personal
yourself,
journey?
for yourself, yeah.
For myself, I think for me, it was difficult. I think about how I got to where I am today, and I'm not even saying that I'm where I want to be yet, but a lot of it was working on myself, listening to a lot of podcasts, reading a lot of books, watching biographies, just looking at other people who've gone through difficult things, and then kind of encouraging myself by watching and reading those things, to kind of just remind myself that, like, there's really no timeline, and everybody's path isn't linear, and maybe there were reasons why things had to happen the way that they did. And a lot of it really comes down to acceptance, I feel. Because if you can accept that, okay, that happened, I can't change it, but I can change the present and I can change how I want to move forward, then you can make something of your life. But if you spend so much time regretting, which I did for many years, just spend so much time regretting and wishing things were different, and I realized that all it did was make me feel worse, give me more anxiety, it will make me feel more sad. And I traveled a lot because of it. And I didn't travel because, like, oh, I wanted to study overseas or anything like that. I traveled because I wanted to escape, Like, I traveled because I wanted to escape this anxiety and this constant fear that maybe what I want isn't going to actually happen. So it was really just finding that acceptance and inner peace to be like, you know what, Alyssa, if you really, really want this, you can't keep escaping it, right? Like, I know it doesn't feel great, but you got to sit with it, and you got to sit in it. And then you got to let the emotions pass and just keep doing the thing that you do, even though it's difficult. In fact, my teacher used to tell me that if it's difficult, if you're afraid of it, it means you need it. And I took it very literally, right? Everything I was scared of, I literally went to do it on purpose.
Wow, it's actually a great insight in Alyssa over there, right? So in terms of perseverance and how that perseverance is, because perseverance is different for everybody, and it's great to know that if you're afraid of it and it feels difficult. So what I'm hearing there is also, embrace the uncomfortableness which comes with when you are starting something new, or are able to, or leveling up into a newer person, right? So you're gaining
Yes.
that skill, and before you have any of that, there is always the uncomfortableness, or the hardship that you have to go through to achieve that. And that's what we are hearing from that story. So thank you very much for sharing that. So is there, well, as you said, you're not there yet. Obviously, you're but you are somewhere near to where you need to be, right? You are
Yeah.
near to where you need to be. We I always say, I mean, we never reach to our ultimate goal ever, because you should be always learning and expanding and growing. So if you're always growing, you're always finding better things or better goals or better perspectives of whatever you thought you wanted to achieve when you set out, right, to that destination. And that then destination evolves as you are evolving yourself. So that evolution for yourself is still happening. And how does that look? I mean, what are the aspirations? Obviously, you are currently working on music, and I know you've got some sort of concert coming up. If you want to expand
Yes.
on that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really exciting for me because I put out my first EP. Basically, an EP is an extended play. It's like an album with around 4 to 5 songs. So I put out my first EP last year, and I had my first concert last year. But what I realized through that concert was that I almost had no creative freedom at all, because it was controlled by everybody around me. And I think as an artist, that's very difficult to accept, because you put so much heart into, like, the lyrics that you write and the songs and the melody. And when somebody takes that out of your hands and does whatever they want with it, and then it's like, you perform it now, you almost feel so disconnected with yourself. because that is yourself. And this year, I just felt like, you know what? It's time for me, like a year has passed, and it's time for me to put out something new that actually represents who I am. And throughout like the last 6 months, I've been sharing more on social media about like stuff that I've gone through before, challenges that I faced, mental health stuff that I've gone through and overcome, and how all of that and the personal experiences that I've gone through and experienced, I've put into my music. And through this music, it's meant to be like a safe space of artistic creation and expression. And it's meant to make everybody feel like, you know, everything's okay. And there's somebody else here who's also gone through something similar. And we can sit here and enjoy the music and accept that, you know, this is human nature and this is a part of life. And so I wanted to do the concert to kind of re-represent all of the things that I feel are true to myself. And then at the same time, remind everyone else that, you know, there are safe spaces in this world. And music is one of them. So that was a huge part of the inspiration behind this one. And I also called it Haven because I wanted it to represent a safe space. And it's going to be like really dreamy and everything.
That's great. I mean, is this something going to be recorded and streamed live, or somebody like people like me who are stuck in the UK able to watch that somewhere after?
Yes, we are going to record it. So there will be video footage and there will be photos as well. But we're not going to live stream it because just the technical stuff is a bit too difficult in that specific space. But yeah, you can definitely watch it after it's done. All these clips of it.
Awesome. So that we look forward to the highlights and so forth, right? But I also wanted to congratulate you as well to you know, get this going, this project of yourself, allowing people to have that safe space and haven to then connect with your journey, you know, your ups and downs, and find that common ground of, yeah, actually, I've been through this as well. So I'm not the only one. So a lot of time we think we're the only ones going through it and we are alone in whatever journey we are on. And it's great to then see that you're putting your stuff out there saying, well, you're not alone. Here's my story. Here's what I've been through with your content creation and everything. So you've done quite a few things, right? So the question would be, how do you balance yourself? Is there a routine or ritual, as some people like to call it, is that you follow? What do you do?
So it's really interesting for me because I started reading Robin Sharma's 5 a.m. Club last year. And I actually tried implementing that. It's too difficult at the moment for me. So I don't wake up at 5, I wake up around 7. And every morning I will exercise, but I'll exercise for about half an hour to an hour. So every day will be different. It will be either yoga or swimming. Sometimes it's a morning walk. Sometimes it's a jog. Sometimes it's like HIIT, which is like a high intensity interval training. I just don't like to do the same thing every day because for me it gets boring. Then I meditate. Then I go shower. And then if I have time in the day, like time for myself, then I'll read, I'll journal, then I'll get breakfast, and then my day starts. But if, let's say, I have something on in the morning, then at least I will do my exercise and meditate and then do whatever work I need to do.
Wow, so that's actually good, and I know about the 5 a.m. club as well, you know, but it is very difficult to do that 5 a.m. So I have a hit and miss there, although my alarm is for 5:15. So,
right.
you know, so it's a hit and miss always there. But I love that that you mentioned the exercise bit, right? And having it different as well. But because that's a sign of keeping your body in check in terms of surprising yourself, right? Because if you're doing the same exercise every day, your body then gets used to that motion, and it just knows, right? Oh, around this time, you're gonna probably just run or probably just gonna jog, and it's ready for that. So what it does is it becomes complacent. It doesn't actually do it doesn't benefit you anymore for whatever you're supposed to gain from that jog or or a walk, because it's you just doing it every day. You have to do more now. You have to do a longer exercise, but shocking your body every time. And I this is why I love that you're doing that already. You're shocking the body, because body doesn't know what's going to happen today, and it gets new treatment every time. And it's like, oh, okay, so I will then work that side of the body and expand and grow and be fitter. So that's what I picked up from that. I think that's initial, whoever's watching and listening to this now, is to keep changing. Don't, even though if you have a routine, but change the routine in terms of do something else. If that's exercising, so do different exercises every day. If it's even journaling, so maybe find a different spot to journal every time, because even though if you're sitting at the same place to journal, that is also not allowing your mind to now explore more and go deeper. If it was able to go finding different place, the mind is like, oh, we're in a different situation here now, and then it works again, because the mind is amazing as well in terms of what you can achieve and what you can do with it. A lot of people don't pay attention to it. So the question comes to you as well. How was your mindset when you're doing all these things? What's the mindset behind that for you?
I think for me, when COVID happened in 2020, it was the first time I did yoga and meditated every single day for 2 months. And I was going through like a heartbreak at the time, and it was really bad. And after the 2 months, I felt like a completely different person. And I used to meditate and exercise and everything, but I didn't do it consistently every single morning. And so just from that 2-month trial, I guess you could say, I just realized how much of an impact it had on my well-being and healing as well. And then everybody started commenting like on my socials, like, oh, Alyssa, you look so happy. Oh, Alyssa, your skin is so radiant. Oh, you look like you're glowing. What's going on? And I never gotten those comments before. And so I was just like, yeah, what is going on? Like, what am I doing that is different? And then that was what I was doing that was different. And so I realized like now when I'm preparing for my concert, I want to be this bright, positive, happy person. I want to be radiating. I want to be able to have energy. And what worked the last time? Let's do it again. So for me, I think mindset wise, it's just like, I can't tell you to do something, but if you've done it and you've experienced it and you've seen the impact it has on your life, you'll naturally just go back and do it. So I always say like, go do it, experience it, and that will change your mindset.
I love this. So it's a great take on just do it. So if you have experienced it, why stop anyway? You should continue and improve and expand onto that. And so I love that. So thank you for sharing that. So we should be wrapping this up shortly as well. In terms of, so the question last is now, is there anything you do to now close your day, right? So you've had a busy, productive day, as a lot of people would have. What do you do now to wind down the close of your day? Now everything is finishing up. How do you close it?
Honestly, I haven't come up with a set routine for every single night before I go to bed. But before, like if I'm lying down on my bed, right, and I'm looking up at the ceiling, or even if I have my eyes closed, usually I will just think about all the things that I'm grateful for. I'll be like, okay, this good thing happened today, that good thing happened today. And then after a while, I just kind of go to sleep and let my mind do its thing. I always have dreams, which are really strange. But yeah, I think like the thing is your mind just needs to be in a state of peace to shut down. But when you have a lot of thoughts going through your head, and a lot of times they're not just like random thoughts, it's not just like, ooh, what color car do I want? It's like, it's always worries, it's always anxieties. That's what keeps you up at night, not happy thoughts. Mm-hmm. So think happy thoughts, and generally your brain will just want to go into that dreamland.
I love that. So, pretty much recovering your day in your mind in terms of going through it, and looking at the positive side of things. Yeah, of course, we will have some bad times in throughout the day, which you have to overcome obstacles and challenges. But the positivity, because your day cannot be a full day of bad every time. There are
Yeah.
positivities there. There's always positivity in everything. Just depends, again, it'll just depends on your mindset of what you are looking at. There's always a negative and a positive on everything which is happening around you or to you or with you. If you're focusing on the negative side of things, definitely then your day will just continue that way, because that's the power of your mind. The mind will be like, okay, it's designed to keep you safe. And the way it keeps you safe is by keeping you away from anxiety, stress, and all that stuff. So if you're thinking, oh, my day is not going great, I don't like this, I don't do this, so brain will be like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do to take you away from that. And that is pretty much, you end up being in your comfort zone, right? So you end up doing nothing, and by the end of the day, you will have those nightmares, right? Because your day wasn't that great, and it's just going to loop that back again. So I love that you shared, think of happy thoughts before going to bed. So how that comes up with a question of what's your screen time routine? Is there certain before bedtime, because there's a lot of people say that at least an hour or two don't do any screen time. So what's your say on that screen time?
Ooh, okay. For me, that's not easy at all, because I'm pretty much my own manager as well as my own artist and creator. So I'm almost always on my phone, but I don't scroll through to watch other people's videos and other people's posts. I generally just go on screen, do my thing. Maybe I'll scroll through a really short while, 3 photos. That's it. I'm out. No more phone for me. Because I think for me, it's also a little bit different. I'm a creator, not necessarily a voyeur, I guess you could say. Yeah, so I don't scroll through and stalk people, but I treat it okay, I know what I need to do. Then once I've done it, then, okay, Alyssa, let's get out of it. Because I know how addictive it can be. And I also follow a lot of mindfulness channels, and a lot of different ones on Buddhism, on Zen, on different religions and different philosophies. And it always relates back to self-love, self-care, acceptance, compassion, all of those things. So even while I'm scrolling through my feed, if I have to, I'm getting good stuff, Yeah. So I think that's a healthy way.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. So obviously being content creator is slightly different for us, even though we are scrolling through. So it's still, you created your stuff, you posted, you checked your messages and things like that, and then you do what you need to do a little bit. I love that. So if you have content there which is more supported, that's what I hear from you as well. So supported content happiness and Zen and quotes and things like that, so to keep you motivated, keep you going ahead. Amazing. If you're just seeing people taking a holiday in Greece every time, or somewhere nice and exotic,
exactly.
And you're like, oh, why am I not there? So yeah, so those things. Again, I mean, it just depends on how you're looking at it. I mean, a lot of people look at that content and say, oh, I wish I was there. I look at it.
Right.
I look at it and I goes, oh, that's an interesting place. I'll put it on my things to do, places to visit. I'll put it on there, and then that's there again. I use it as motivation. I want to go there. These are nice places that I've just seen. Places I would love to go. Which also I'm going to ask you is in terms of scheduling or list. So that's a big question that I ask everybody. So are you a list person or you're a schedule person, that you schedule everything? Which one do you prefer?
Ooh. I think I'm generally a list person. I tried doing an hour-by-hour schedule, but it was really difficult to maintain. So yeah, I generally do lists, but if I have the time to plan the night before, then I would do a schedule.
That's amazing in terms of the list. I'm totally opposite to that. I'm more of a schedule, so everything is scheduled to the T, everything, because
wow.
the list gives me anxiety in terms of, because it's always growing. It's never going down, because you're always
true.
you're always putting stuff onto a list, and you're like, when is this gonna stop? Because
Yeah.
and if your day is scheduled, then you just know your day is scheduled, and these are the only things you're gonna do in these certain hours. Whereas a
Oh,
list
that's
for me,
really
it's like,
smart.
because what I see with the list is like, is there's no time for it, so I can just do it anytime, right? So
True.
that's how I see it. But yeah, I mean, if it works for you, amazing, you know, because that just means you're more disciplined, you know. So which I was already hearing when you were talking about the screen time. You look at it and you're like, okay, let's stop. So
Yes.
discipline, you know, which is a very difficult thing for everybody to hone into, and discipline is something which we all need to progress with and have. So you sounds like, you know, you've got an amazing discipline there. Is that something you already had it, or you had to develop it?
Honestly, I had to build it. I don't naturally have a lot of self-discipline. I'm quite an impulsive person at times, and also like very imaginative. So I don't like to work within rules and boundaries. So I think I learned self-discipline just because I don't have a manager, right? So to me, it's like I had experiences where, let's say, I ended up double booking myself, or I ended up not making it to things on time, or, you know, I just ended up having really bad miscommunications with certain people. And so I think from those experiences, I just told myself, like, okay, you know, there's something that you really need to work on. Like, I know you're not perfect at it, but if you keep going down this path, people are going to feel like you're really unprofessional. So it's not easy, because handling a lot of the back end as well as the front end it's like working two different brains, you know. But I'm getting better at it, and I will, when I'm able to create a schedule every single day and stick to it every single day, then I know that I'm on the right track.
I love this, love this. So thank you for sharing that, and being vulnerable there as well, right? Because not everybody shares that vulnerability that openly. So thank you very much for doing that, and I love that you know, you've mentioned that you learned from your past mistakes and, you know, those
Yeah.
tricky moments, and that's what they're there for. And if you're not using that, what I always say is, if you're not learning from your mistakes and you continue making similar mistakes or more or less same mistakes, then it becomes your choice. After maybe once, twice, it's a mistake, but then if you're continuing, that's a choice now. You're choosing to not
True.
learn from that and be in it every time. Because I come across a lot of people who are complaining about certain situation, yet they're still in that situation. If you meet them after 2 years, you're like, well, now it's your choice. This is your choice. So either just be at peace with it, or stop complaining to me about it, right? So it's your choice
Right.
now. What you're doing to move forward, and what I'm hearing from your conversation so far is you've done everything to move forward, and not be in those situations that didn't make you happy, that didn't
Mm-hmm.
sit right with you. You're like, no, I don't feel good here. You know, I thought this will be it, but it's not. I need to keep growing and keep moving, and that's what you're doing. So it's a great ultimate lesson for whoever's watching and listening to this. This will be posted as a podcast a bit later throughout the year. So whoever's listening to that as well. We should be wrapping this up. So final comments from you that you would like to share with the audience of Tuesday Talks. What would you like to say?
For the audience and everybody who's listening, I think for me, the most important things to just remember in life is that everything happens for a reason, and everything is a lesson for you to learn. And whether you believe in karma or whatever you believe in, I choose to believe that there's a reason for everything. And you can always choose to be like, is this going to break me, or is this going to make me stronger? And if you learn the lesson, you're going to be stronger. If not, the cycle will just keep repeating itself. So it's very true when people say like, oh, you know, I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. Oh, I feel like I'm stuck in like the rat race or a hamster wheel, because it's so cyclical. Like, you haven't broken out of that. And so things keep happening over and over again, but in different forms. So you have to develop that self-awareness to be like, okay, something about this is very similar to something I've experienced before. How do I make sure this doesn't happen again? Then I always think of it as like, you know, when you watch Pokemon and stuff, you kind of evolve from one creature to a bigger creature to a even cooler one. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if I overcome this obstacle, now I'm gonna be like Alyssa 2.0. Then okay, now I'm Alyssa 2.0. Then like, what's the next obstacle? Because now I'm gonna be Alyssa 3.0. You know, like just gotta think of yourself as like you're gonna evolve and be like this transformer. That's cool. Like that's what life is, I feel.
I love that, and I think I could not put it any better than that, you know. And I love the analogies of Pokemon Transformers in there. That's amazing. So you know, so life's all about evolution.
Yeah.
So you know, I love this, and I think I'll use that name as a title for this episode as well. So you know, life's all about evolution. So
Right.
that's great. Thank you very much, Alyssa, for your time, and of course we had to change a couple of times. So thank you very much for adjusting as well.
No
And
problem.
everybody else who is also watching this or listening to this as well. If you found it inspiring, or if you had a spark somewhere by just listening to Alyssa's story, and you found it inspirational, it's your duty to now share this with somebody else. It's your duty to now text that person that just popped into your mind whilst you were watching the story here. Because we shouldn't keep this spark or inspiration with us. We don't know who's just woken up or gone to bed thinking of a better day. And if you had that inspiration or a spark, it might just create that spark and inspiration with them as well. And who knows, it might just get them going to where they eventually want to be. So thank you very much, Alyssa, for your time. And everybody else, we will also see you soon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much. Goodbye, and I hope to speak with you again soon.
Definitely. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.